Hey everybody, it's Jeff Walters. Welcome back to The Helpful Contractor. Just out here doing a little drywall repair, and I wanted to give you guys a little tour to see what we're doing. This is a complicated subject, but not really. This is not what I would consider the best way of doing this project. This is, I'm taking over a project from somebody else that lost this job, and the customer was in a pretty big panic and a rush to get somebody in here. It's an investment property for them, so they're looking at getting it back on the market right away. So take a look at it, and I'm sure a lot of you professionals out there will agree with me and say this is not how you would have done it, but this is what I had, and this is how I got it done. So this one is 8 sheets. It's just the drywall finishing, and I'm into it about 3 hours of cutting out and pre-filling. I have 5 pans of hot mud doing the pre-fill and screws, and I think I put some mesh on a few seams that were close to some of the pre-fill areas, so I might as well have just done that at the same time. This is not how I would have preferred to have done this project. This project should have been, the sheetrock should have just been taken back off, purchased the 8 new sheets of sheetrock, hung the sheetrock, and started taping with a good solid product versus trying to patch in this nasty hanging job that he did. So let me turn this camera around. I'll show you guys a little bit about what we're dealing with in here. So right here we have a double gang box that was completely over routed, and his excuse was, well, the electrical's in, I couldn't do a good job with the electrical, so he just didn't care and he over routed it big time. As you can see, I just have a seam right above it, mesh tape. This big white line right there is not pre-filled for my inside corner. That's actually a big router line that I had routed probably 4 feet, about 3 inches outside of the corner. I have no idea why he would have done that. A single outlet or single switch, major over route. Again, another switch. This has a California patch. You can kind of see the ears of the California patch or butterfly patch. This one was just overrouted, all that dark area. That's where there's still a lot of moisture. Even though that is dry or that is hard, it is still wet. So wet and hard, that sounds a little bit weird. Wet and hard are 2 different things. You can see here, this was a full blowout from about like that. That we cut it out and pre-filled, mesh taped, and working again. Around the pipes and the drains, again, they were big, huge square cuts. I'll show you some before and afters of that. Now here's the part that was just flat out laziness. All of the bottom of these 3 sheets in here, at least, well, 1 sheet basically, he had not swept before he put the sheetrock up. So when he did, the sheetrock captured a bunch of debris, and when he pushed the sheetrock up, it broke the bottom 2 to 3 inches all the way around this little bathroom. And then all that sheetrock had to be removed and packed in and mesh taped. So all that is full 1/2 inch thick of hot mud with mesh tape weaved into it. Again, another lazy blowout. And more mudding. All right, well, I've complained enough about this, so let's get back to the purpose of this video. Let's see how I took care of all these problems and turn this into a nice little smooth wall job. All right, here you can see some of my hot mud. I'm just kind of scraping it away. Try to keep the hot mud in this pre-fills phase as small as possible and as flat as possible. And that way you can just build up with your regular mud on top of that. I'm just going around and I'm just scraping away any lap lines, any boogers, anything that's gonna get in the way of my next coat of mud. Again, the object is to try and stay flat and clean. All right, here we go. This phase, I'm starting to pre-fold all my inside corners. When I do hot mud on the inside corners or even some taping mud, I will grab a roll of paper and I will just pre-fold 50 feet of it. Then I go in and oftentimes I'll cut the paper or rip the paper to the right lengths. And that's just less time I have to take when the mud pan is actually in my hand. I try to keep my, when the pan of mud is going, I try to just keep moving with that. And when I'm cutting out paper, I just try to cut out paper, rip up paper to predetermined lengths. So I wish I was actually this fast. Boy, look at me rip. All right, there's an example of what after I'm done taping the corners, that's what my inside corners usually look like. I try to keep them very crisp and clean on the inside. I don't leave any extra mud on this coat. Now I'm doing a little bit of flat taping right there on the ceiling. That way when the tile guys get in there, they can tile up tight up against a nice semi-flat ceiling. It is a plasterboard that I'm going over on that ceiling, so there's only so much I can do. All right, putting some corner bead up. Got my DeWalt cordless stapler. Just shooting on that clench-on metal. Then once we're done shooting it on, I like to mesh tape over it. Gives the mud a little bit more of a bite. Now I'm putting one side of the angles on. I let those angles tack up for a couple hours. And now I'm coming back through and I'm putting mud on the inside of one side of those angles. Oh, there we go. You can see I got some mud on that piece of corner bead up top. Still running the one side of the angles. I run the one side of the angles on one day, and then I will come back the next and I'll run the other side of the angles. While I'm there, I will put a full coat of mud on my seams and my metal. You can see me busting out or floating out around those big patches on those outlets. There's my first coat on all of the, well, my first finish coat, I guess you could say. And here's putting a little bit of mud on my seams and the metal. A lot of people call this the second coat or the double coat, a fill coat. They call them all sorts of different names, but really it's just the first big deep coat of mud. Here's what it looks like after, a little close-up of all the areas. After spinning that light switch, floating that weird angle there. That's what your corner bead looks like. Some of the patch areas, floating those out around all that big pre-fill and hot mud. More pictures or more video of the inside corners. Yeah, about ready to set up the fan and head home for the day. All right, next day, here we are. Got a small little fan and heater going. All of our mud's nice and dry, dried really well. You can see my little corner build up there. Not the best lighting. Hold on a second. You can see my little corner build up, no problem, easy to scrape away. All my corner beads nice and dry. So you can see I've got some pop marks. Those aren't really a big deal. They'll get covered up with the next coat. Yeah, everything's looking really good. All my corners nice and dry. Took about 15-20 minutes scraping and put another coat of mud on these, and then we'll be sanding tomorrow. All right, well, I did not get much footage of actually putting the next coat of mud on, the final coat of mud on, but this is a walk around of what my skim coat looked like. Some areas just got a little bit of mud, and some areas got a full another coat. So you can kind of see the dark spots and some of the light spots as we walk around and show you what it looks like. Well, I know that looking at wet mud dry is not very exciting, and since I didn't get a very good video of me sanding, here's just a little clip of me sanding and then a couple pictures of our end product. Again, I did not get very many great pictures of it being all done. That was right before the tile guy came in. This was after the cabinet was set. You can see the new flooring down there. But yeah, I mean, it turned out really, really well. A small project, made difficult, but that was a wrap. So hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe.